it's far more easier to actually have the control of the business as the whole once you're not chopping it into pieces. Because that's a saying which I use every time you let yourself see the business as separate parts, you lose impact and profit on the table.
Hey, it's Renee. Welcome to the Into the Wild Show, the podcast for women who want to build incredible mental strength to level up their business and lifestyle. I'm Renee Warren, the founder of We Wild Women, author, speaker, award-winning entrepreneur, and your host. Together, we will make you unapologetic about shining your light, growing your business, and turning you into a wildly confident and successful leader. This is for you, the visionary, the go-getter, the entrepreneur, and for those that need a real kick in the butt to get going and to dream bigger. Each week, I bring in leading experts and entrepreneurs to help you take leaps in the right direction, because I know the best advice comes from someone who has successfully done it before. So, are you ready to level up? Welcome to Into the Wild. Hey, you wild women. My next guest is the CEO and founder of the Holistic Enterprise, the world-leading company that helps conscious CEOs, board members, and business owners of $5 million to $300 million revenue companies expand their impact and reignite their team's mission. Internationally renowned as a holistic business strategist, she redesigns a company's structure, eliminating arbitrary operations, and helps realign work culture so teams feel valued. Their services have been utilized by business owners in over 30 industries to grow their revenues by millions. In this episode, Laura and I chat about how to create a business by following a purpose that is bigger than yourself, and how to become the holistic leader to carry the dream past the finish line. Please welcome the incredible Laura Gerrits.
Hello, everyone. I'm so pleased to be here. Been looking forward.
Yeah, you're dialing in all the way from across the pond. Such an interesting expression, across the pond. It's a gigantic ocean.
It is all the way from Lithuania. So, and we just figured out that it's 10 hours difference.
It's 10 hours.
We can make it, right? So
I love it. No, I appreciate you dialing in the evening. And you have a beautiful puppy that you just came back from a walk with. So tell me about your dog, because we finally decided after years of my two boys and I trying to convince my husband that we need a dog. He's finally like, okay, let's do it. So now, like the moment he said yes, I'm like calling all the breeders. And now I have all these like interviews and phone calls. But you have a Weimaraner. Is that how you say it? Weimaraner? Yeah,
Weimaraner.
And it's like
3 years to make the decision.
Okay.
And to convince my husband as well.
Yeah.
So, and because we live in an apartment, not in a, like a big house with a terrace and that type of thing and the garden. So I kind of was like thinking, oh, can I really make this? Absolutely amazing. Having a dog is amazing.
Yeah. Well, and these dogs need a lot of exercise too. So it forces you to get outside and and you were saying how she's provided this capacity for you to do a lot of reflection and make these big changes in your life.
Big changes came with her, like internally in me. As I mentioned, she's like my free therapist, right? And the best one, because having these walks in a pure silence in a forest or by the seaside, it's just, I can barely find right words to describe that richness and expansiveness I receive from walking with that dog, with Zoya. So it's amazing. I mean, all the questions coming into my mind and the slowliness, the being parts. And I feel that, I bring back myself more pure, back to the business, back to my relationship. So it's very good. Like it's a very good distraction from your daily kind of life or daily routine or business, whatever we do, having a dog or taking out, yourself. So it's very good.
Yeah, I know. We're looking into this. So yeah, my husband's now convinced. Now it's just a matter of finding the right pup to fit our family. And I will say this, going through a breeder and even the SPCA, they require more paperwork to adopt a dog than you require to have a child.
Wow. It took some paperwork, but I haven't tried another, option. So
yeah, it's like you can just have a baby here, but if you want to have a dog, no, you need to have references. You need to make sure the environment of the house, like all these things. I'm like, wow, this is fascinating. But so anyway, the dog, I love that her head just kind of popped onto the screen really quickly. And I was like, is that a Weimaraner? It is. Probably not even pronouncing the breed well. But I'd love to know some quick questions. I've already alluded to this, but where are you from?
I'm from Lithuania myself, which is one of the Baltic kind of states here across Scandinavia. It's a part of Europe. And for many years, we've been a part of Soviet Union or Soviet Russia. So I grew up actually under Soviet Union regime till I got 13 years old. And my aunt from United States, who ran away just after Second World War, she lived in the United States. She came to visit us. And then she said that, Laura, if you're going to learn English very fast, I'm going to make sure that you're going to get, the best education and all these things. So, so this is how my life started.
So was that under like USSR?
Yes, it was still SSSR. Yeah.
Wow.
It was many years ago. And we were not kind of, allowed, we could dream, but we were not, nobody would allow us to dream loudly. They would say that, shh, don't do this, because there are no opportunities. And, we were not allowed to travel. We were not allowed to build any type of business. I mean, people didn't know what business looks like. I mean, there were many things like that. Even critical thinking was, I would say, forbidden in school. So basically you would kind of need to obey, right, to whatever you receive from education and, society.
Kind of like what it's been like to be a woman for all these years.
Yeah. I mean, I probably only realized actually a couple of years ago what kind of trauma or what experiences it has given me and why I am who I am with that childhood and youth. So in the first years of my kind of, women life, I didn't even look back at that and looked at that. But later and later on, especially because I lived as well in Denmark for many years, when I came back, I started kind of understanding that I am neither in Lithuania, neither in Scandinavia. I felt like I am here for far bigger things. But at the same time, I felt that I needed to bend that reality or those social norms or that, that narrative I was told as a kid. And that's all these walks with Zoya, with my dog, really helped me to kind of feel that purest essence of who I am. I found that expression, the purest me, somehow, through these walks. And so then I realized the places where I kind of made myself smaller, chosen, more comfortable reactions or reality. So I believe a lot that in any scenario, we are who we are because of the surroundings, but there is some point in life, or maybe many points in life, when we become more aware, more conscious, and maybe independent, right? To make decisions. Something is triggering us inside, and then it's just a matter of time, when we become brave and just disrupt that vicious cycle. Yeah.
When we're brave enough to just go out there and follow our dreams and our passions, it's a courageous thing to do, especially if you've grown up in a place that didn't allow for that. So there's extra bravery needed from you. And here we are. So as an entrepreneur, what was one of the toughest moments you faced?
When I had my first company, it was a fashion manufacturing company. We've been producing clothes for Scandinavian designers, both here in Lithuania and other places. While I lived in Denmark, we grew exponentially, very fast, within 5 years. And I was very young. I was right now I'm 43. It was 20 years ago. So that company nearly bankrupted simply because I was not I didn't have skills. I didn't have time, didn't have skills to properly set up, systems in place and make sure that there is the control without kind of controlling people or micromanaging. So that was I remember the toughest moment was when I knew that I have to pay, my company has to pay like for 50 plus people salaries next week. And I'm looking at the cash at the bank accounts and there's like literally nothing. That was the toughest moment. And at that time I was still smoking and I just couldn't sleep at night. I just smoked, one cigarette after another and just thinking like, how did I end up in this situation? I didn't even want, to face these type of financial struggles as an entrepreneur. I kind of felt that I wanted to create jobs and I felt that I am able to create that massive value and give people, be a part of their dreams. And suddenly, things are taking you very fast. And then if you don't have someone, like for me, who is with you, who has more experience, who can kind of guide you or whatever. So yeah, that was the toughest moment for me.
Wow. I mean, I've been there once before, 1 month, but I didn't have 50 people's salaries. I think I had like 8 people's salaries. And I was like, oh my gosh, like the payroll was like next week. And I go, well, I mean, we had a line of credit. I was like, I don't want to dip into that though. I get that's there to like, as a safety net. So then I called up all of our accounts receivables. And I was like, there were some that were like due next week and some that were like a day late. And I was just like, hey, can we get this today? Ended up getting all the cash right in time.
Oh,
and we had a surplus too.
Yeah.
Then I was like, okay, no. So which, sometimes you're in these low moments. It forces you to rethink your systems too. I'm like, how did we allow ourselves to get here? It's because we got really lazy when it came to receivables. Oh, we trusted these people. They'll pay us when they remember. It's like, no, they need to pay you now.
Yeah, they need to pay when the deadline is on the invoice, right? So,
and that moment changed our business to become net zero terms. It was like, I'm not putting in 60 days worth of work. So what happened is like, it used to be agency model was like, you'd only bill them after the first month's done and then you had net 30 days. So really from the moment you did your first hour of work to maybe when you got paid was 60 days. And like small business, we don't have a surplus. And then so we changed our terms to net zero. We have to pay us the starting of the month for that month's work. It was like, we lost some clients because of it. But at the end of the day, the people that knew our work were they're like, yeah, that's fine. Like totally. And then now it was like a time debt for us owed to them. And it worked out beautifully. And like, it's not negotiable for us. I'm sorry. It's not like net 90 days. So we also learned our lesson and wow. Okay. So I'd love to dive deep on this, but there's other stuff we want to talk about. But first, love to know, what's your favorite quote?
I love Stephen Covey and everything about his philosophy. So there's this quote, and it's actually I painted a picture and it's here, that leader is a constant, like a lighthouse, a constant dependable source of light, something like that.
Yeah.
And it triggered my mind I simply, felt that a leader it's not a person who is independent, because very often we as business owners, or in the beginning, right, of our entrepreneurship, we think that, oh, that would be so good to have our own business and not have command and control over me and free time and all these naive kind of things in the beginning, which is fine. But then there is this huge responsibility which you are entering with that freedom, and that you are so much dependent on yourself, on others, and doesn't matter, what days you have, you still have to show up for yourself, to show up for your bigger impact, to show up for your people, for clients, whatever. Yeah. So it's like, carrying on with the calling and duty. So I love that quote a lot.
It's like, and I totally get it. It's some people are like, I don't want to have a boss anymore. I hate having a boss. So then they start a business, which is great. It's like, it's kind of my mission in life. However, what most new entrepreneurs don't see or don't understand is that as soon as you get your first customer, now all of a sudden you have your employees, now you have bosses all around you. The client becomes, needy, as they should, and then you have to help get paid so you can pay your employees' bills, essentially. So now all of a sudden you're being pulled in so many different directions because there's even more people that rely on you. There's some days I'm like, hey, you know what? It's just easier. I'm going to shut this down. I'm going to get a job and I'll only have one boss, one person to deal with. But no one would ever hire me. There's no way. There's just nope. They're like, no, you've been an entrepreneur for too long. You're out of the game. Do you even know how to take orders? No. So let's talk about the idea of holistic leadership. What does that mean to you?
I think for me, it resonates in so many levels, but that core level, the essential, the center, it is being the purest version of who you are as an entrepreneur, as the leader. And that means that you are fully aligned with your inner truth. And you are very clear about your 10th why you do what you do. And that your why is most likely far bigger than your own life. That's, for me, it is the core piece of stepping into the holistic leader. Because once I am brave enough to be absolutely naked and pure and actually literally be that voice of that impact, which is far beyond bigger than my life, then it's another layer after that where we can talk, how then we can include our clients, our people, and everyone else to feel oneness with that impact and co-create, compounding effect on the society, on the planet Earth, whatever that big why is, whatever that impact is. So for me, holistic, it is understanding that the business is far more bigger than just profit or than just kind of serving shareholders. But it actually starts with that individual who in the first place made a decision to create something, to give something to this world. Yeah.
So
and
what do you say, or how do you coach a leader who is perhaps too angry or too frustrated or too demanding? Like, we look at this from my perspective, and you have all of the research and experience in this, is that there is definitely an old masculine way of doing business. And I'm seeing more and more of this feminine is kind of sneaking its way up the corporate ladder. But what do you say to those angry, frustrated leaders? Like, there's obviously a lot of inner work that they have to do.
Oh, yeah. I always look, before I coach any leaders, I always look for the ways their system is wired, because the system will always kill any brave leader, any good talent. And if that leader is stepping into the system, which is rotten, where we have org chart, top down, where we have a verb, let's cascade some measures, let's cascade some targets and budgets, then we have a big issue. So before I start even intervention with any leader, any business owner or their teams, I dig into the system and I try to understand the system as the whole. Now, what does it mean? In that system as the whole, normally, because we've been so blueprinted with this corporate top-down command and control approach. So normally in that system, I will always find that from the top, there is this force of measures, like arbitrary measures, KPIs, targets, budgets, cascaded down into separate functions of the business. Sales, marketing has their own thing, production, whatever, client service has their own thing, IT or product development. And then on the other side, if there is a board of directors or ambitious CEO or business owner himself, right? And he is embracing or feeling okay with that type of system of running a one-man show, then I know where to dig, for the reasons. And definitely then the reason is that person alone who can make the decisions to change the entire system. So then the way I coach him, it is by simply asking the questions, like, what is that impact you are here for to create? What is that the purpose you are unfolding, and what is your why in the first place? If you can remember yourself 20, 40 years ago when you made a decision to open this company with the debt in your account, and with all those insecurities, what was that why? Because I really want these people to tap into the purest essence of who they are. And then once they do that, it takes normally some time. Then I ask another question. So how that impact is actually weaved into every process, every thought, every meeting content, every measure, every responsibilities. Then I kind of go back to the system, and then he or she says, oh gosh, we never even thought that we can kind of weave the impact into our end-to-end system. So when they get that, they understand that it's far more easier to actually have the control of the business as the whole once you're not chopping it into pieces. Because that's a saying which I use: every time you let yourself see the business as separate parts, you lose impact and profit on the table.
Ladies, my Sidelines to Headlines program has a few spots available for the new year. Want to say your name in lights, as in get some media wins? Getting media attention doesn't have to be difficult. You just need to work with an experienced publicist and develop a scalable system to get into your dream publications. And that's what Sidelines to Headlines is all about. This done-for-you program was created for women like you who don't have the time or know how to get consistent media and wants to work alongside a fun and quirky professional. That would be me. With hundreds of media wins under my belt, running an agency that got clients in the Steve Harvey Show, Forbes, Wired, you name it, writing a book about it, and knowing how vital PR is for small businesses, I wanted to bring this method to women-led businesses and help them kickstart their media campaigns without the agency price. So, if getting media wins is part of your 2023 marketing plan, then head over to wewildwomen.com/sidelines to headlines. Now, I only work with a select few women-led businesses at a time in order to provide the best creative attention each woman deserves. So if you're eager, then take a minute to complete the application form to see if we're a great fit, and hopefully so, then we can start working together and get your name in the spotlight. So head on over to wewildwomen.com/sidelines to headlines. See you there. What are some of the old mindsets of CEOs and executives, especially like in management, hierarchy, big or small companies, that you find are extremely outdated?
Org charts, number one. I never ask when a client asking me into the company, I never ask to give me an org chart. And there is a reason why. Because if I look at the org chart, it's going to give me a pragmatic understanding of the system as the whole. It's gonna give me the understanding of what parts of the system are there. But what I want to understand always, how your business is creating value and what is that impact you are making. So org charts, basically they are never serving any purpose, just telling who is reporting to whom.
But isn't there a part of that that's important though?
No, completely not. Because in the org chart, we shouldn't be there for creating value, for the boss. Our boss is the client, right? So
but when it comes to understanding who reports to who, right? Because there's at the top of the org chart is the CEO, the leader, the founder, right? At the end of the day, they're entirely responsible for everything that happens within the company, right? And depending on how big the team is, people need to know who is their direct report, because the boss can't be managing 100 or 1,000 people.
But this is exactly the limited belief. This is exactly the thing we just been blueprinted so much with, that it's only that one person who can have the control, or someone has to have the control above you, because otherwise you are not smart enough, you are not good enough to to control your own performance. And that is completely not true. So so in a holistic system, I mean, there is a very clear structure, but that structure is based on the interdependencies rather than silos, like siloed.
Oh, like department silos.
Yeah. So let's say it can be that normally always the first stage in every business, it is finding a product fit to market or creating awareness in the market. So it's not only sales or product development who can sit there and make decisions. Absolutely not. I mean, there's at least like 4 different people with various competences within different functions. They sit together as this nested team and make decisions because they truly understand that our impact is to do A, B, C. So how we can then create that product or create that awareness in the market, whatever it is. So we are aligned with that impact and how we can measure that. And suddenly those measurements, we are not having red and green KPIs of, for me just to look if my marketing department is busy for the sake of others, because I just gave them maybe the budget and they want to spend it out on ads and everything else. So they're just, using it for ads and maybe sales are getting wrong leads and etc. But they just don't talk together. And weeks goes by and they don't talk together. So this is where so much money are left. Yeah. So that's one of the most dangerous even thoughts that we all have to have another person above us to have. So
I would be so interested in knowing if there's been anybody you worked with before and you've just challenged them to scrap the org chart. Have you done this before?
I've done it with a couple of companies so far. I mean, with the bigger ones. With the smaller ones, I just make sure that they don't get one.
Don't even start there.
Don't even, yeah.
It's so interesting. It's like, as part of my coaching, I always say an exercise is to create an organizational chart, mostly out of principle to understand who reports to who. Because the reality is that the CEO can't be responsible for every single person's issues. They don't have the capacity. And quite frankly, that's not their job. Right.
Absolutely.
So we don't know, what's the other way? Like, what's the alternative?
Yeah. So, and this is one of the reasons when we don't know the other way, we keep on doing what we know, right? So basically, we are creating what is called holistic business structure, where we have like, instead of, like in the silos and then on the top we have the CEO, we say, no, but what end to end, can you draw for me how your business works end to end? What's the first stage? And then they say, product fit to market. Fine. The last one, feedback from the client, let's say, or gathering the money and feedback from the client. Fine. Who are the core people? And give it in names if your company is smaller. If your company is big enough, give it in functions. Who are the functions or what functions or who are the names responsible for coordinating the outcome and the process of that stage? And this is where we draw a flower. Actually, in the center, you have like a core person or core people. And then on the leaves, we have people who are strongly contributing to it. And this is how I form self-managed team. And then we know that if we are going for this impact, these are our strategic objectives. These are the results we kind of, assume we want to go for. So how we can measure that, how often we are going to meet, where we're going to keep our accountability actions and brainstorming and etc. So it's very controlled.
So could somebody's name be in another petal on a flower? Or are they just put in there once?
They can be. And again, depending on the size of the company, normally when it's a bigger company, I always say, you look beyond the titles. I don't need all managers to sit all over the place. No, guys. I mean, you have a team of 50 people. Just pick another Monica, pick another Peter and add it there. Just trust that.
Peter. Peter's a busy guy.
Yeah. So that's how it works. I mean, and that structure is even what it does. It eliminates completely any ping pong, communicational ping pong, like delays, miscommunication, nerves, right? So, and waste. And then, yeah, and people feel kind of fully aligned that, okay, finally, we are working together. It's not like someone is not measuring me against you. And we are here for the impact. We understand that that stage is set for this impact, and these are the results we wanna co-create together. And then they definitely have we call it as well, holistic business meetings, where they are gathering together. They are, looking at the action list. They're looking at their information and do the decision making, aligning whatever is needed. And what it takes for those companies, especially, small and bigger ones, but for the bigger ones, yeah, it takes longer. So I literally facilitate these meetings for a couple of weeks myself in most of these teams as well with my team, so they can, as a coach or as a sports coach, so they can really grasp that there is suddenly no one to blame. We are, pure and naked about that impact we are creating, and with this around the stage, why we gathered. So it takes some time for people to practice and realize that, gosh, yeah, we don't have any, irrational conflicts. Conflicts based on the wrong system. So yeah, you can change as I always say to any company, you can continue having your org chart, but it's just the illusion of the control. Your business doesn't work like that org chart. It just simply doesn't work like that. Your people talk to each other, they call each other, they email each other, they WhatsApp each other. It just doesn't happen like that.
Yes, it reminds me when I ran my agency and I had a big team, I hated when people called me their boss. I'm like, no, I'm not your boss. I'm your leader. I don't work above you. I work beside you. And we're all like, our org chart was flat, super flat. I didn't care if you were there for 6 years or 6 days, because that's how I generally believe the worth of somebody, regardless of tenure, regardless of experience. So we talk, okay, so I love flowers, by the way. So I'm definitely implementing that into my company. Thank you. What is another antiquated belief that we have about leadership?
We are too scary to share our internal kitchen with clients and suppliers. Clients and suppliers or government is like, another, it's out of our scope. It's not within our business. That's kind of the belief which we have. And the holistic leader, and what I try to do as much as I can, depending how ready they are, say, guys, everything what we are creating for our impact and purpose, it touches far bigger pieces than us, right? Far bigger parts of the system than us. So let's invite clients, let's invite suppliers into our end-to-end, maybe redesign of the business, into our strategic sessions. Let's do not sit in that little jar, but let's blow those boundaries. Nobody is saying that we have to listen 100% to what they say, but we are brave enough to invite them in first before they invite us.
Right.
We can read the lines in between what they say. We can understand far ahead what they would want, and we can innovate together, maybe with them, some new services, and be the first ones in the market and, beat any competition. So that's something I always try to do and encourage.
That's so interesting, because I think of like advertising and branding companies where it's like the branding company is given the brief, as much information and the wants we think the client wants. And then they kind of take that away, the brief away, and they go and they do their work for weeks, if not months, to come back to present their idea. When it's like, hey, maybe it took 2 months to do this. And they're presenting to the client and they're like, that's total crap. That is not what we want. But imagine they were a part of that process. Like, wow, that's revolutionary, because now your speed to market is so much faster, because you can say yes or no and tweak it here, or not that color, or not that product, or not that service, or yes, we want this, or more of that, right at the beginning, at the inception of the idea.
Absolutely. Look outside in and don't judge that you know everything.
Oh, I gotta tell a leader they don't know everything? No. Tell them they're wrong? No.
Yeah.
That's powerful. Okay, so any other hot, antiquated systems or beliefs that we need to just break?
Yeah. The other one is about red and green KPIs. Like I'm holding a master MCC degree in lean management, and lean was, if anyone knows, like Toyota production system, the quality management. I mean, it goes ages ago. I mean, once Toyota, like in the beginning of Toyota's history.
That's a good book. That's a good book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the issue again with the arbitrary or wrong conflicting KPIs, and especially putting those in colors, it creates so much toxic culture, blame. It keeps people small. And I think that very often even CEO, business owner lose the potency of the entire company's performance because of that wrong control kind of, top-down approach through wrong KPIs. So just ask yourself the question how these KPIs are aligned with the impact and purpose, both from the client perspective, from profitability perspective, because still at the end of the day, we have to be profitable. That's what we want. And client doesn't care if we're profitable or not. So we have to have that critical hat on, like you did, right? With your payments and that system condition. So that's another thing. It is that if we are not controlling people through KPIs, if we are not measuring them with plan and fact and red and green, they're going to be lazy. They are not going to work. It's just so wrong.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, here's what's interesting. There's a book that I'm still reading, getting through, because maybe it's related to this. It's called The 4 Principles of Execution, I think.
I heard about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. And I think they talk about a version of KPIs, but it's just like, I can't digest it. And I know there's a lot of people that are like swear by it and they follow this system and it grows their business, but there's just something about it that just doesn't feel good. And people are like, if you're not running your business like this, then you are not running a business.
Yeah. I even with our clients always say, I don't want us to use the word KPI because our business, any KPI, it is lagging. It shows me the past. I am here in this meeting to take the picture together of where we are with our business health and trend and make decisions. So if I will start looking at something what happened yesterday, at some kind of KPI, is it going to be reporting for reporting's sake?
Right.
Or is it going to be decision making? I will train my team. So I'm not saying that KPIs are not needed. And we still probably will need to have some of them, especially if we want to be publicly registered company and go for IPO and all these type of things. Definitely. But there is a way how we can tweak these things so it's fully mirroring the impact and the results we're going for. So normally I say, let's seek for the information which will give us the picture of the business at any moment. And in this kind of question, we are kind of always triggering all the IT systems which are in place or not, right? So,
Well, it's so interesting because you need to measure data from the past in order to use that as information to make decisions for today and the future. So then what you're saying with the KPIs, like some people are probably rolling in their seats right now thinking, my God, no, is that perhaps we're measuring the wrong things.
If we are looking at the KPIs, and that's what normally in the top-down approach, they've been used to control people. So these KPIs are static, meaning that I'm not observing how fast we are gathering, like money from clients for 12 months. I'm basically probably, looking at how many contracts Renee signed with clients, plan versus actual. This is wrong. But if I use these statistics and I analyze the trend over the time, then I can make decisions, because to analyze the trend, I have to gather data, and it's not KPI as such, it's data. And then I can either, look at it every day, accumulate it over some time and see where the outliers are and, see what type of decisions we can make. But it is analyzing data and the situation and not a person.
Right.
So it's a major difference. So data we have to gather, we have to put it into the trend and decision making, but as well within that team, not for the boss alone. As you said, he is not.
It was so interesting because I think my brain was like hitting a cement wall. I was like, but it's performance. We need to make sure that people are performing, right? But then if you look at the flower, it's like maybe this person isn't performing, but they're not the reason, right? Because there's so much involved in this. Okay, so we could talk about this forever. I love this. So those three things are what you believe and what you've seen and proven to be antiquated beliefs or models that are stopping businesses from actually moving forward faster.
And from growing. We are basically standing in our way of growth and bravery. I feel that, we are kind of, putting one lie after another, and then we stop even liking ourselves. That's what my clients are saying, that I became a person, I don't even recognize myself anymore.
Yeah, that's true, because we're told that this is the way business is done. So this is the way we always have to do it. And then you be the first person to change things up. And then it's almost like you become the example for other people. Okay, I have one last question for you. When I ask you what it means to be a wild woman, what is that to you?
Oh gosh. For 2 days ago, I had a walk with Zoya on the beach, and I actually talked to the Baltic Sea. Literally, there were no people on that wild beach. And I just, opened my arms and just, did a prayer or whatever it was, like manifestation, and talked loudly to the Baltic Sea for the first time ever. And then I called my partner, business partner, and I said, you will think that I'm, going crazy. But I just love that. I love that there was zero kind of thoughts stopping me from doing that. I just looked around and thought, I just feel like doing it. I just did it. So wild, to me means, that whatever you feel inside of you, like coming out, don't stop it. Just, let it go.
I love that. Every night before bed, as part of my OCD of making sure that the front door is locked, I always open it. Like the kids are walking up the stairs. We're all getting ready for nighttime routine. And I open the front door and I say, thank you to Mother Nature for providing us another beautiful day. Right? Just a quick thank you. That's it. And then I make sure the door is locked. But I get that. I get that the connection to nature and the expansiveness you must have had in that moment of just being able to stand there with your pup and talk to the sea. It's beautiful.
It was amazing. Yeah. I'm going to do that again. No.
Next time, scream really loud, just at the ocean.
So America could hear that. Yeah.
Okay. So where can people go to find you online?
Okay. So definitely LinkedIn. That's my spot where I am every day. And our website is theholisticenterprise.com.
I love it. Laura, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for being here. I loved all your questions and how genuinely interested you are.
So there you have it. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Into the Wild. To make this girl happy and to help reach other women who are dreaming of starting their business, please leave us a 5-star review on iTunes and everywhere you listen in. Also, if you want to find me in the wild, check me out on Instagram at Renee_Warren. That's RENEE_WARREN. And leaving you with one of my favorite tips of all time: the best advice you could ever receive is from someone who has successfully done it before you. Until next time, ladies, peace out.